The rain tapped softly against the cafe windows as he sat alone at a table meant for four, a space that felt far too big for a man carrying so much weight. People around him were busy with their lives, typing, talking, laughing, but inside him, everything was quiet, almost painfully so. His daughter was home with a fever, and even though he knew she was resting, the guilt followed him like a shadow. He wasn't running away, he just needed a moment where the walls of responsibility weren't pressing so tightly around his chest. Parenting alone had become a constant balancing act, loving fiercely, worrying endlessly, and somehow still feeling like it was never enough. The empty booster seat beside him made the loneliness sharper, like a reminder that this day was supposed to be different. He took a slow breath, staring at the untouched coffee, wondering when life had become this heavy. Maybe it wasn't just about being tired. Maybe it was the silence, the kind that makes you question yourself, your choices, your strength. And in that silence, without realizing it, he was waiting, not for a miracle, but for something small, something human, to remind him he wasn't alone. He didn't notice her at first, not until the soft scrape of a crutch paused beside his table. When he looked up, she was standing there with a tray balanced in one hand, her expression caught somewhere between hope and hesitation. The cafe was crowded, every seat taken, and she seemed used to being turned away or overlooked. Her right pant leg was neatly pinned just below the knee, and though she carried herself with calm confidence, there was a quiet vulnerability in her eyes. She asked if she could share the table, her voice gentle, almost apologetic, as if expecting a refusal. But something in the moment, maybe the simplicity of her request, maybe the kind eyes searching for a place to sit, stirred him out of his thoughts. He shifted his things aside, offering her the chair across from him. As she settled in with practiced ease, placing her crutch where it wouldn't be in the way, there was a subtle but unmistakable shift in the atmosphere. Two strangers, both weighed down by their own private struggles, suddenly found themselves sharing not just a table, but a small pocket of stillness in a restless room. And neither of them knew it yet, but this quiet exchange was about to change everything. He didn't notice her at first, not until the soft scrape of a crutch paused beside his table. When he looked up, she was standing there with a tray balanced in one hand, her expression caught somewhere between hope and hesitation. The cafe was crowded, every seat taken, and she seemed used to being turned away or overlooked. Her right pant leg was neatly pinned just below the knee, and though she carried herself with calm confidence, there was a quiet vulnerability in her eyes. She asked if she could share the table, her voice gentle, almost apologetic, as if expecting a refusal. But something in the moment, maybe the simplicity of her request, maybe the kind eyes searching for a place to sit, stirred him out of his thoughts. He shifted his things aside, offering her the chair across from him. As she settled in with practiced ease, placing her crutch where it wouldn't be in the way, there was a subtle but unmistakable shift in the atmosphere. Two strangers, both weighed down by their own private struggles, suddenly found themselves sharing not just a table, but a small pocket of stillness in a restless room. And neither of them knew it yet, but this quiet exchange was about to change everything. She paused for a moment, running her fingers along the edge of her notebook as if gathering the right memories. Then she told him about the day everything shifted, not the accident, but a moment afterward, one she said mattered just as much. She'd been at the pharmacy, struggling with her crutches, trying to balance a bottle of medication and her dignity at the same time. People around her noticed, of course, but they noticed in that uncomfortable way where no one knows what to do. And then a woman behind her stepped forward, not to take over, not to pity her, but simply to ask, "What do you need?" It was such a small question, she said. Ordinary. But no one had asked her anything like that since the accident. They either tried to fix everything for her or avoided her entirely. That woman didn't see a tragedy. She saw a person. And that simple respect, that tiny moment of kindness, became the spark that pulled her back from the edge. So she began writing letters, one for every stranger who had unknowingly helped her through a dark moment, one for every reminder that goodness still existed. And as she explained this, he realized that what she treasured most wasn't grand gestures, but the gentle, unseen kindness that makes the world bearable again. She laughed a little when she admitted she didn't know what she wanted to do with her life anymore. Losing her leg had erased the map she'd been following since childhood, and every new path felt uncertain. But as they talked, he could see the spark in her, the same determination that once made her a runner. So he reached into his wallet and handed her a card, explaining that a friend of his worked with a non-profit that provided prosthetics for children. They always needed volunteers, especially people who understood the emotional weight behind the physical struggle. She held the card gently, as if afraid to believe in the possibility it offered. But 3 weeks later, she called him, breathless and brighter than he had ever heard her. She'd gone, she'd volunteered, and she'd spent the entire afternoon helping a little boy take his first steps on a new prosthetic leg. He'd stumbled at first, then steadied, and then, just like that, he ran. She said watching him laugh, watching him find freedom again, felt like witnessing her own heart begin to heal. For the first time since the accident, she felt useful, purposeful, connected to the world in a way she thought she'd lost forever, and in that moment, she realized her new path had been waiting for her all along. In the days that followed, something unexpected began to grow around Marcus, not fear, not tension, but a strange kind of calm. He went back to his quiet routines, reading in the library, eating alone, moving with the same steady patience he'd always shown. But now, people watched him differently. Not because they were scared of another fight, but because they sensed there was more to him than strength. One evening, a young inmate named Luis approached him, nervous and unsure. He asked Marcus if it was true that he fought like some kind of martial arts master. Marcus looked up from his book, gave a small, almost shy smile, and simply said, "Shaolin. Since I was 10. Luis couldn't understand why someone with that kind of training would allow himself to be pushed around for so long. Marcus closed his book and explained softly that sometimes power isn't about showing what you can do, it's about knowing when not to. He said the words that would stick with everyone who heard them: the strongest strike is the one you save for the right moment. From that point on, inmates who once lived in constant fear found themselves behaving differently. Less anger. Fewer fights. More control. Somehow, without trying, Marcus had shifted the energy of the entire prison. True strength had finally found its voice.